Well, I thank Senator McCaskill, my colleague from Missouri, for yielding. First of all, I want to thank Senator McCaskill and Senator Gillibrand both for the effort, the time, the commitment, the focus that they have made on this issue. They have clearly both been at the front lines of changing the underlying bill. Two things that Senator Gillibrand said that I absolutely want to agree with. The underlying bill is strong. It is a step in the right direction. It is the result of our committee debate, our committee action. I think I heard the senator from New York say that she was supporting the McCaskill amendment, which adds even additional things to that. And I also am supporting that amendment. It does a number of things that I think make the bill even stronger. It says that commanders will be evaluated based on this as one of the factors, that no longer would this just be something, if it happens to come up, you talk about it, but the commanders would be evaluated based on what they did to change the command atmosphere, what they did to protect people against sexual assault, what they did to create an atmosphere where these things not only don't happen, but when they do happen, they're vigorously dealt with and looked to as something that has to be dealt with, and the commanders would be evaluated in that way. There's another layer of review in the McCaskill amendment. If the commander disagrees with something that's happened in this process, they have to kick that review up another level. The so-called good soldier defense, no longer a defense. This is about this incident, this assault, this accusation, and dealt with solely in that way because of this additional amendment that I think many of us will support, that will be added to what's already a strong underlying bill. Also, this amendment would allow victims to express a preference, whether they'd have this pursued in a civilian trial or in a military trial, a court-martial. Those are all good additions. I think that's why both, not only why Senator McCaskill proposed them, but why both the senator from New York and I would be supporting that amendment. I believe that the amendment improves what the committee did, but I think the committee had a full debate and a long debate and a vigorous debate on how important it is that commanders be involved. You know, Senator McCaskill, my colleague from Missouri, has been a leader on this all her time in the Senate. She came to the Senate. One of the things in her background was a county prosecutor, but is specifically a prosecutor of sexual assault cases. I have relied on her judgment as we looked at these issues, and I think her judgment is borne out by so many things we heard in the committee. Senator Ayotte, who will be here speaking for this amendment and for the underlying bill, for the McCaskill amendment and the underlying bill. Senator Fisher, also on the Armed Services Committee, will be part of that debate. We introduced a bill, the Armed Services Committee did, that has the most comprehensive legislation targeting sexual assault that's ever been considered by the Congress. We add to that these important elements of another McCaskill amendment. 26 provisions are in the underlying bill that deal with this issue. It's was among the most difficult decisions I think we met, but also one of the important decisions that we met. The idea that commanders would have responsibility for the atmosphere they create. One of the things that was mentioned more than once was what finally happened as we integrated the armed forces. President Truman, I stand here by his desk, one of our predecessors in the Senate from Missouri signed the order that integrated the armed forces. President Eisenhower pursued that further, but only when the command structure was given absolute responsibility to deal with what had become a real problem. As there were even race riots on ships, according to Senator McCain, who talked to us about this. It was when the commanders were given the responsibility to see that this problem was solved, that it was solved. I think this bill and the additional amendment that I'll be supporting, the McCaskill amendment, really clarifies in new ways how important it is that commanders accept this as part of their command responsibility. The numbers that Senator Gillibrand talked about are totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And one of the things that commanders would be evaluated on in the future would be what they did about changing that environment. I think actually taking them out of the command responsibility in this area, in my view, makes it less likely, not more likely, that the atmosphere will change. Then you're down not just to the atmosphere. One additional minute. Since Senator Ayers not here to object, I'll just take it from her time if no one objects. But the fact that this is in the bill, further improved, I believe, by the amendment, but clearly says that we're going to change the culture in the military, and that would not be nearly as far along as it is if it hadn't been for the hard work of my colleagues, particularly Senator McCaskill and Senator Gillibrand. They're here on the floor talking about a difference of opinion, not on solving this problem, because we all believe this problem is going to be solved. I think we all believe the bill takes a significant, strong step toward doing that. I think most senators are going to agree that the McCaskill amendment adds another element there. I'm glad that the Defense Committee, the Armed Services Committee, and now the United States Senate is taking additional steps to solve this problem. It's a tragedy for every individual in the military, man or woman, who has been the victim of a sexual assault, reported or not. And whatever we can do to see that they're reported and that they're minimized and they're ended is what ought to happen. I hope this bill does that. I believe it does. I was pleased to be part of bringing this bill to the floor, and I will be pleased when I think the McCaskill amendment will be added to it today and we face a new view of how this issue is dealt with, and I would thank the Senate for the time.